What's going on, everybody? BASSFZz here, and in today's video, we're going to talk about, well, you can clearly read the title, but we're going to talk about Elliot Rodgers and why he did what he did. And the reason why, and this video isn't going to be like a huge rant, because I feel like there's nothing really else left to be said. A whole bunch of other people have left out a whole bunch of ranting videos that I watched, so I feel like there's nothing much I can add to this conversation except a point of view that was at one point similar to Elliot Rodger. And like I said, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to explain precisely what was going on with him. And the reason why I say that is because this channel in and of itself is all created to explain concepts people don't understand. That's why I have why do people hate, or why do girls like jerks on my channel. I'm usually trying to explain things that a lot of people are either just get wrong or just misguided, and so that's what I'm going to do in this video. It's not going to be a rant or anything like that, but I'm going to do it differently. So instead of just talking, I'm going to share some of my personal experiences, and then I'm going to use a lot of media to further explain a lot of things that's going on. Because one thing that I found was pretty funny was how a lot of people were confused about this issue, and yet when it comes to fictional characters like in movies or media, we find so many people being able to break down exactly why they do the things they do. When it comes to people in reality, it's not the same. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a couple of clips from different TV shows that I like to watch, different movies I've seen, and to further break down and help us understand why he felt or why he did what he did. So that's it. So a couple of things to get out the way before we start is one, I'm getting really sick and tired of this feminist propaganda that's being spread, that Elliot Rodgers was, one, a part of the MRA when he wasn't, and two, that he was a misogynist, and we need to put more awareness on the mistreatment of women, as if we don't already know that happens. And granted, he was a misogynist, and we're going to talk about that later in the video, but he was not the misogynist feminists preached about for years. He was a true misogynist, and we're going to talk about that a little more in the video. But that's one thing I don't like, the feminist propaganda, how they're saying that it was 6 women who were killed when really it was 2 and 4 men were killed. They're not getting the facts straight, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, we're going to address that too, but I just had to make sure you guys knew that was coming up too. Alright, so like I said, let's get started. So the very first thing I want to get out the way here is how a lot of people with mental illness complain about how we shouldn't say that Rodgers was a madman, or how we shouldn't say that he was not mentally ill or something, because it creates this stigma that all mentally ill people are dangerous to be around. Well, look, guess what? Black people go through the same thing, and my advice to you, people who suffer from mental illness, who feel that stigma, just continue to prove that that stereotype isn't real. I do that every single day when I don't go out and I don't rob people or I don't eat watermelon. You know what I'm saying? So to that, just because you don't want to be associated with someone who has done something wrong because of X does not negate the fact that that was a factor in what happened, because there are many layers that come into why Elliot Rodger did what he did. And one layer, which I'm going to talk about right now, is he was absolutely mentally ill. There should be no argument, no debate as to was this man mentally ill or not, because he was. There's no argument there. Now, we can discuss maybe what was going on, what mental illness was he suffering from. Was it autism? Was it Asperger's? We don't know. One thing we absolutely do know, based on his manifesto and based on his YouTube videos, is he was definitely suffering from severe depression. He was absolutely very depressed and very sad and very, very lonely. And that loneliness is going to be a key factor in why he did what he did. So like I said, he was suffering from depression, and we can look through that and everything. He's always saying, I'm over here in these beautiful places, but I'm so sad, my sad, pathetic life. Oh, woe is me, always complaining about how bad his life sucked, and a lot of people want to bring up and mention the fact that he had a lot of money. I don't know, this is really cliche, but I don't know how many times people are going to have to be told this. Money does not buy happiness. okay? Because Elliot Rodger, he clearly, I mean, he did want money at one point. He did obtain some money, but so what? Just because you have money, you can buy things. It doesn't fill the void of being lonely and wanting to have sex and wanting to have companionship. And that was his ultimate goal. You know, he was lonely, and that was one of the huge factors in why he did what he did. So he was depressed and he was lonely. We're going to talk more about him being lonely, but I just want to say, people, look, just because he was mentally ill, there's no way around that. And just because you don't want to be associated with that stigma doesn't change the fact that a mentally ill person did do something wrong. The same way some black guy did go into a store and rob 3 people. I'm black and I don't rob 3 people. So you just have to learn to disassociate yourself from that stereotype. You know, the next thing we're going to talk about is gun control, and how this is definitely not the battle for gun control, because Elliot Rodger killed 3 people with a knife, you know, and he was planning on running over people with his car. So even if he didn't have guns, I am 100% sure he would have found some other way to kill these people. He absolutely would have. He would have found a way. He would have gotten a bow and an arrow. He probably just would have used his bare hands and just snapped people's necks like he was in Assassin's Creed or something. Guns is not the issue here. This is not the battle for it. People should stop talking about gun control with this issue, because it was not the guns. He would have found some other way to get to these people. Absolutely. The problem is his state of mind. That's the problem. Is his state of mind and the way society itself treated him. That's the issue here. That's the problem. So now with that out the way, let's actually start talking about this. You know, and so one thing that I noticed when I was watching Elliot Rodger's video, his one video, I think it was his very last one, you know, when he was like in the sunlight and he's talking about what he's going to do. I noticed it sounded very, very, very similar to the talk of supervillains in like Marvel comic books or Marvel movies. He sounded like a villain, like he sounded like a supervillain.
Major problem. That's a problem that I intend to rectify.
A problem I mean to rectify.
Problem that I intend to rectify.
You know, and what I mean by that is, like, one, he had a goal he was trying to accomplish that he wrote in his manifesto. He had this evil smirk, this evil laugh, this disassociated look in his eye, this like I don't care kind of look in his eye. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to this, and at first I started laughing because I couldn't even take him seriously. And I was like, I'm laughing, and I'm like, this guy sounds like Magneto. And then I start thinking a little more. Wait a minute. What makes Magneto Magneto? I'm like, this guy sounds like Loki of Asgard. What makes Loki Loki? And so it was really the thing with Loki and Klaus, I'm going to talk about Klaus a little bit later, and I was thinking about these villains, and I'm like, all of them have tragic backstories, all of them are mass murderers. What caused them to do the things that they do? And that's why I'm going to use this media to help us understand what was going on, because he, like I said, he sounds like a supervillain. He sounds like someone who's in pain, just like Loki does, just like Klaus does. You know, so the first thing I want to talk about is his problem with girls. You know, and I myself have suffered. I guess suffer wouldn't be the correct word. However, I too have gone a very long time without having female affection, or I've gone a long time trying to date girls and they rejected me. Except the difference here is, like, I didn't wait for them to come to me. Like, I went to them and I got rejected by them a lot. So now the difference between me and Rodgers is I did get a girlfriend at one point in my life. You know, even though it was only for like 3 weeks, I did get a girlfriend eventually. So, you know, that's cool. But for a very long time, I would try really hard to date a girl and get rejected. I remember the first girl that I liked, and I was nothing but nice to her. You know, I treated her with so much kindness and respect. And she didn't just reject me. She didn't just say, you know, I don't like you. She treated me like garbage. And I go more extensively. I intend on making a whole video series called The 4 Dragons, where I talk about these 4 girls in my lifetime who really affected me in the way I view the world. But she was the first one, and her, just the fact that I was being nice to her, and I was genuinely nice. Like I wasn't trying to get anything from her other than her respect. you know. And we can move on from there. There's so many girls that I'd be like really nice to, and they would just treat me with disrespect, or they'd just be mean to me, you know. And so the thing is, when I was younger, I remember I asked this girl when I was in 8th grade. I asked some girls, I was like, "What do you guys like in guys?" And they told me they like guys who write you poems. They like guys who are nice, you know, guys who give them flowers and whatnot. So they're telling me the rules, so to speak. And I did exactly what they told me to do, and it wasn't working. So one thing that I did, and you can see Elliot Rodger did the same thing. He's trying to figure out what is wrong, what is going on, what's happening. You know, and it took me like 2 years. I actually made a video called "Why Do Girls Like Jerks?" because I was literally trying to figure out what is happening, what is going on. I'm doing what they're telling me to do. It's not working. Why is it not working? So the first layer of this is he is frying his brain. Imagine you're trying to figure out a math problem that you just can't get, and how frustrating that is. For those of you all who are great in math, you probably just think of something in your life where you're trying to get it, you're trying to figure it out, and it's not working, it's not computing. You're trying to get it, and it's not clicking. You can't get it, and there's a lot of frustration that comes with that. So that was the first layer of his frustration. He's trying to figure out what is going on, what is wrong with me, what's happening here. And so the people, and like he said, he's like, I have a nice car, I have the sunglasses, look at how I'm dressed, I'm awesome. In his mind, he's following these concepts of masculinity I also talked about. He's following exactly what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to be a gentleman. He's supposed to have a nice car. He's supposed to be attractive. He's doing everything he's supposed to do, and it's not working. That's where that first layer of frustration comes from. He's trying to figure out what's going on, and he can't. That is the first problem here. So now the next layer to Elliot Rodger, and which he talked about in his manifesto a lot, was how he got bullied a lot. You know what I'm saying? So like he's getting picked on a lot back in not elementary, but back in middle school. He's getting picked on a lot in high school, and you know, these bullies are picking on him and getting on him all the time. And you know, and one thing that a lot of people, I know especially me when I got bullied, is there's a lot of anger that gets inside your heart towards these people that you can't do much of anything about. So one thing Elliot Rodger was doing is he went to World of Warcraft. So he reclused, he went into World of Warcraft. So there are two layers to this. One, his disconnection from reality, and two, this feeling of inferiority. You know, and an inferiority complex is the complete opposite of a superiority complex. You know, inferiority complex is when you feel like you're not worth much of anything. You know, you feel like you have to find some way to prove yourself. You have to get some kind of validation from someone because you feel like there's something wrong with you. You don't get that. And everybody wants that. Everybody wants love. Everybody wants to feel like they can do something, you know, who feels like they can do great things, you know, and he's not getting that. In fact, he's getting quite the opposite. He's getting pushed in the lockers. He's getting people beating him up, people hurting him and whatnot. And nobody likes that. Nobody wants that to happen to them, you know. So this is just festering more of that rage and that anger that's going inside of his heart. He's getting bullied. He's looking for love. He can't get it, you know. And now the next layer, he goes into World of Warcraft. And one thing I've noticed, now this isn't everybody. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anyone who plays video games disconnects from reality. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is he in particular did, and there are a couple of people who do disconnect from reality when they play games like World of Warcraft and when they play games like Dungeons and Dragons. You know, and because of this disconnection, he starts getting a God complex. Now, what is a God complex? A God complex is when you start to think you are better than everyone else, when you start thinking people are beneath you. This God complex does something to Elliot Rodger. He starts objectifying people. Now, the first step to justifying harm against somebody is to objectify them, is to say they are beneath you. He starts calling people beasts. They're animals. I am a god. I am a god to these people. I am magnificent. Now, he's telling himself these things because he's not getting it from anyone else. So when you're not getting any validation from anyone else, and you're not getting it from your parents, you're not getting it from your friends, you got to get it from here. You got to get it from yourself. So he's telling himself this in order to repair the damage that's already been done. He already feels terrible. So now he has to tell himself, wait, Now he's answering his questions, and his questions, and the answer is, I am magnificent. I am the alpha. That's his answer to the questions of why these girls don't like him. I am superior to them. He creates his God complex, and he's disconnected from reality. So he's spending these hours on World of Warcraft. Imagine he's probably what, like a level 93 paladin. I don't know. I don't play World of Warcraft. So he's like some paladin. He's probably some hotshot. He's spending all this time playing this game. So he gets disconnected from reality. He starts thinking he's a god now, and all that rage and that anger and that frustration is festering in this god complex that he has created. And that is a recipe for disaster. You know, you're going to notice a lot of people who go out and be shooters, they disconnect, they get rid of, and here's the thing about your human spirit. You're going to notice you can't hurt somebody and you can't hurt yourself. Your human spirit won't let you. And to test that out, here's a quick test. Grab a knife, turn it around, and just stab your hand. Just stab the back of your hand. And one thing you're going to notice is you can't do it. You can't take a knife and stab yourself straight through the hand without overriding your human spirit. And the way you override the human spirit is with anger, with frustration. You know, you get so mad, you punch somebody, that's overriding it. Or you do it by feeling numb, like some people who are cutters, you know, they just feel so numb and so sad, they cut themselves just to feel something, you know. Or you override your human spirit by saying, these people are beneath me. That's how you override your human spirit. And that's what that God complex did to Elliot Rodger. So he's disconnected from reality, he's angry, he's trying to figure out something he just can't compute, and he's suffering from severe depression, and he's lonely. So let's talk about that loneliness for a second. Now, I watched an interview that one of the victims gave. This one woman, I think she got shot, and she said that when he looked at me, he was smiling. There was like an evil, like, smirk, and that made me think about Klaus Michelson. Now, if you don't watch the Vampire Diaries, I'll explain briefly who Klaus is. Klaus was originally the main antagonist in the TV show The Vampire Diaries, right? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play you guys a clip of Klaus talking to one of the main characters, Stefan Salvatore, and I want you to pay attention to what he says in this clip. And we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about that in just a second.
I found the letters. You have a few pen pals over the centuries?
Well, is keeping my victims' letters really so different from writing their names on a wall? Like you did. Ripper. Loneliness, Stefan. That's why you and I memorialize our dead. There's the briefest of moments before we kill where we literally hold their life in our hands. And then we rip it away. And we're left with nothing. So gathering other people's letters or writing their names on a wall is a reminder that in the end, we're left infinitely and utterly alone.
Now let me put that in some context for you guys. So what is Klaus? Klaus is a vampire werewolf hybrid. In all intents and purposes, Klaus is a god, okay? Klaus cannot be killed, least for the white oak stake, and there's only like one of those things. So he's the original vampire, he's super strong, he can't be killed, and he's lonely. He's lonely. The reason why Klaus does anything and everything he does in the context of the Vampire Diaries is because he's alone. Klaus's ultimate goal in the TV show was to create more vampire werewolf hybrids so he wouldn't be the only one, so he wouldn't be alone, because he's scared of his loneliness. That is his motivation, and Klaus is a much more complex character than what I've painted him out to be, and that's because I can't specifically go into detail and depths of how complex Klaus really is. You know, he's a great character, and that's why I'm using him to help you guys understand, because so many people understand Klaus's loneliness and Klaus is a mass murderer. Again, he's the villain, he's the main antagonist, and he's killed thousands of people across the span of time, and yet so many people love this character. Now, let me be clear. I'm not defending what this guy did. I'm not saying that what Elliot Rodger did was okay. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that we can use media to help us understand why he did what he did. Alright, so next time we're going to talk about Loki of Asgard. Okay, so now Loki has a huge fan base following. Now what was Loki's ultimate goal? Loki's ultimate goal was to take over Earth with the Chitauri army to get back at Thor. Now why did Loki feel the way he felt? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read a comment from the video page where Loki fights Thor in the original Thor movie. And I want you guys to listen to what this guy has to say. He breaks down Loki's character. So here's the comment. The comment is by a guy named X Bloody Desires X. Right? He wrote this 6 months ago to the date of this video. Here's what it says. All what Loki wanted was to be Thor's equal in the heart of his parents. He needed to know that he was able to achieve great things, and he is. He just needed someone to tell him that. Everyone needs to be told that, and no one did it for him. No wonder he's so damaged, suffering, and above all, angry. He just figured out that he belongs to a community of monsters, first enemies of the Asgardians, and that he was just a tool for his father in this war. No wonder why he went cray-cray. And even when he's out of his mind, his actions are still driven by understandable motivations. He wanted to prove himself to his father. Even after knowing what he did, Loki is just desperately looking for love and recognition. This character is so complex, multidimensional, and fascinating. No wonder why he has so many fans, more than the actual hero in fact. Now, there are a great deal of similarities between Loki and Elliot Rodger. Loneliness. He wants to prove himself. He wants validation. We can understand what Loki wants, and yet at the same time, we are confused as to why Elliot Rodger did what he did. So here's another comment. This is by the God of Mischief. He wrote this 3 months ago at the time of this video. It goes like this. It says, "They all say that Loki is a traitor, that he betrayed Asgard. But how much loyalty must one have for a society that never loved him, never accepted him, never wanted him? He didn't have any friends. Sif and the Warrior 3 were friends of Thor, not of him. They probably wouldn't even hang out with him if it wasn't for Thor. Thor is being a major jerk because he's all but flaunting his success in the face of his neglected and shunned younger brother, and Odin just won the worst father of all time award for saying he was born to be a king, to give him hope, and then crush it by favoring Thor all the time, and trusting him with Mjolnir and stuff, while completely ignoring Loki and failing to see his jealousy at this injustice. Injustice. Who also said that? Elliot Rodger. Let's keep going. Frigga is probably the only one who cared about Loki, and that makes it so very, very sad. He wasn't a monster, he wasn't a villain, all of this could have been avoided, but they made him one, and then they had the nerve to be outraged about what he had done, to hate him for betraying them, while he was the one who was betrayed." So once again, I read those comments out to show you guys that these people can break down Loki's character and can understand his motivations. But for some odd reason, other people can't do it for these people in reality. These people actually live. Now, media and entertainment is just a mirror to reflect society. People got this motivation for Loki's character by seeing actual lonely people. That's where the parallel comes from. You get these ideas to create these characters from things that actually happen. Let's look at Magneto for a second. Magneto was a survivor of the Holocaust, right? And he wants to create a world full of mutants where mutants won't have to suffer the same prejudice that happened. The Holocaust actually happened. There were people who were actually being killed and being put in internment camps. That's his motivation, something that was real, that actually happened. Some people feel this way, right? So let's talk about something else now. So one other thing I'm going to add to here to really show more of this parallel between Rodgers and Loki is at one point Rodgers, he has a younger brother, and I know this because I forgot it, I can't pronounce his last name, but this man named like Stefan something, he's probably on YouTube. He made this 2-hour-long video where he's reading excerpts from the manifesto. And at one point, Rodgers writes about how he has a younger brother, and his stepmom is his half-brother. His stepmom says, oh yeah, he's going to be really popular with the girls. he's going to lose his virginity early on. Now, all Rogers wrote about was how he was being, how he was a virgin, how he can't find love, he can't find his validation. And his stepmom sits there and tells him and praises his younger brother, saying he's going to get what Rogers isn't going to have. That drove him up the wall. You know, once again, same thing that happened with Loki and Thor. Thor is getting all the praise. Loki's just like, what's going on? So, last thing I'm going to add here is Elliot Rodger was a true misogynist. Elliot Rodger was the misogynist feminists were waiting for. Except the key difference here is he wasn't a misogynist for misogyny's sake. Like, he didn't just hate women just to hate women. He hated women because of the way they treated him. But he hated men too. You know, he hated people. Remember, like I said, we talked about this. He had a god complex. He hated people in general, you know, but women especially. And like I said, the reason why is because the way he got treated. Like his stepmom treated him like garbage. You know, his mom and his dad got divorced when he was younger, and they're playing ping pong with him. They're sending him back and forth, and he never had like a stable environment to grow in, to learn these things. One thing you'll notice is like his mind, he's stuck in the mindset of a child, and that's what happens to a lot of people when they go through trauma, when they go through a lot of hardship in life. They don't ever grow, or they don't learn. They don't learn how to adapt to new situations. They don't learn how to be mature about things. You know, he was like a child having a temper tantrum that ended 6 people's lives. You know, and like I said, I understand exactly what's going on with Rogers' field, because like I too, I've been rejected by a whole bunch of girls that I've tried to talk to, and I've been bullied by people I didn't do anything to. You know, I literally would just be walking down the street or just walking to my bus, and some guy would just start making fun of me. I've had that happen to me before, so I understand exactly where that anger and that frustration comes from. But the difference is, one, is I did get a girlfriend. I did have friends. You know, I did have my dad I could talk to. I did have my older sister I could talk to. I did have my wolf brother, James. I did have my friend Teddy and Marcus. I had people to talk to. Rogers didn't have anybody. You know, and so at the end of the day, what's the solution here? You know, we're not gonna fix this problem with more gun control. We're not gonna fix this problem by ignoring the fact that he absolutely had a mental disorder, and we're not gonna fix this problem by saying that women are in danger. Let's fix it. Let's help them. No, we're gonna fix this with kindness, by helping people who need help. That's how we're gonna fix this problem, because otherwise, if we have all these people who are feeling the same way Rogers feels, how do we fix it? We tell them they're not alone. We become their friend. We help them with the problems that they have. That's how we're going to fix the problem. We're not going to fix the problem with tighter legislation. We're not going to fix the problem by focusing on something that wasn't even the issue. The issue here isn't women are in danger. The issue are people need help, and we're not helping them. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? So once again, let me make this clear. I'm not defending what this guy did. I'm not. No, never. What he did was wrong. Absolutely. But I made this video to show you guys that we can use media and we can use personal experience to help us understand something that we're just not getting. And I hope you guys have learned something or learned more in this video. Once again, I'm not defending this guy. What he did was wrong. Absolutely. I shouldn't have to say that. I should not have to qualify and say what he did was wrong. We all know that was wrong. Okay? But like I said, I want you guys to understand his motivations the way we understand villains in media. Because for all intents and purposes, he was a villain. He was a bad guy. He killed 6 people. He had a goal. He had aspirations. He even has a tragedy. For all intents and purposes, he was a bad guy. And so I'm showing you guys we can use media to help us better understand why people do the things they do and how to fix it. So that's the purpose of this video, you know. And as always, guys, if you like this video, please go ahead, click that like button, click that subscribe button, comment in the comment box below, and check out some other videos I posted in the description box, you know, to help you guys better understand. And as always, thanks for watching and have a good day.